Hello there, you're listening to the Box Office Show. I'm Ryan Hill.
And I'm Dylan Johnson. Today we're going to be talking about the box office numbers from last weekend and our box office predictions for this upcoming weekend.
And in honor of its 10th anniversary re release into theaters, especially in IMAX, we will be discussing Christopher Nolan's sci fi epic Interstellar.
Now let's briefly touch on some news before we get into the main topic. The Golden Globes nominations came out this weekend. We're not going to go through the whole list, but we'll kind of talk about the things that we thought were surprising, the things that we thought were interesting and cool. Obviously, The Substance got way more nominations than you or I thought that it would, which is great news for me as a fan of the movie. Margaret Qualley and Demi Moore both got nominations for their performances. Got nominations for writing and directing, I think.
It did, but it will have no effect on the Oscar drafts because you nor I picked it.
That's correct.
So,
I don't think it will get any nominations at the Oscars outside of makeup and hairstyling, which I think it has a good chance of winning. But I still think it's cool to see that it's getting represented at least at one award ceremony. I think Margaret Qualley and Demi Moore are both fantastic.
It's bolstered its chances for sure. There's a lot of people I think that are rooting for it to get some Oscar nominations. I still am on the train of it will not,
I'm
other
skeptical.
than, as you said, makeup. But we will see.
Perhaps an editing nomination, maybe.
It makes it more likely. And again, they're going to push for Demi Moore very heavily.
Yeah.
And then I could see in writing as well, it could try and sneak in there, since it did win Best Screenplay at, what was it, Cannes?
Yeah.
There you go. So it could absolutely be a surprise entrant into those categories. But for now, I'm still skeptical. But it definitely it needed to show up here in a big way for it to have those chances, and it definitely did. So
yeah, absolutely,
it's on the come up. A film that is not on the come up and will be affecting the Oscar draft, Blitz.
Sad.
Saoirse Ronan did not get nominated for either of her films. She was potentially going to be nominated for Blitz and The Outrun. However, neither of those materialized, which is crazy. And then nothing else, no other love for Blitz. So, Dylan, you're
looking bad. Looking really bad. I mean, you and me both, had we done this draft 2 months earlier, we both would have been fighting for Blitz as the number one choice. And it has just fallen off, buddy. I mean, oh my God. How shocking. How disappointing, to say the least.
Indeed. And then Sing Sing, which is another one that, if we did it many, many months ago, that would have been the other one that we were fighting for.
Mm-hmm.
It did get nominated, but only twice in 2 categories. So it didn't even get the Best Motion Picture Drama, which is quite shocking. I think the Oscars will depart from the Golden Globes on this front. I think Sing Sing will get, Best Picture. I think it will be nominated for writing. Definitely will get the Best Actor nomination, and then probably maybe one more. But it is pretty shocking that, again, something that was pretty favored earlier in the year now is just not at all in contention, at least with Golden Globes.
Yeah.
Quite shocking.
Did you see Sing Sing?
Not yet, no.
Yeah, me neither. I did get around to seeing Emilia Perez, which is on my Oscar draft, and that got a record-breaking 10 nominations for the most nominations for a musical or comedy movie. I mean, it's blowing everything out of the water. This is the Golden Globes too, so there aren't any technical categories for the movies. So, I mean, already 10 nominations in just writing, directing, acting categories and picture and music is stellar. That's awesome. It got a Best Score nomination, which I didn't think it would get. It got 3 acting nominations, writing, directing, and picture. I mean, that's awesome. I saw it. I really liked it more than I thought that I would. And I think people don't like it as much as they should. I think they should give it more of a chance. I think the story is really, really creative. I think it's really fun. I'm just not convinced it needed to be a musical, I guess, because it doesn't land that note all the time. But dude, when it does, some of those musical numbers are really, really good. One in particular, there's one musical number that Zoe Saldana does, and it's why she's going to win an Oscar. She's so good.
Is it a song that's nominated here?
Yes, it is.
Which one?
El Mal. Oh,
El Mal. Okay.
Best. It's going to win. That's the song that's going to win. Best song in the movie. Best song of the year in any movie.
Wow.
Zoe Saldana's going to win an Oscar because of her performance in the whole movie, but very specifically because of that song. It's so good. It's awesome.
Okay. Yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to catching it. If nothing else, then like Zoe Saldana's performance, because I've
Oh,
heard
she's
we've been hearing
fantastic.
great
Yeah.
things. Again, she's a front runner, so I'm very excited to see her performance in
I
that.
love her in this movie, and I really loved Carlos Sofia Gascon. She's also fantastic. Had I not, I'm like, I liked her so much that I think if she beat out Mikey Madison and became the front runner for the Oscar, I think I'd be okay with that. And I loved
Wow.
Mikey Madison and Honora. I think either one of them winning, I'm okay with. They're both fantastic in these movies.
Wow. High praise. So
Yeah, she's
yeah,
really good.
I'll be curious to catch that sometime before the actual Oscar nominations roll around, or at least certainly before that ceremony. But again, it's on Netflix, so we're gonna have to work out that deal, Dylan, and figure that out.
Mhm.
Um, uh, a double nomination that came out of nowhere. Instead of Saoirse Ronan, it was Sebastian Stan
Yeah, good for him, man.
for The Apprentice and A Different Man. So shout out to him. Great stuff. It will not be replicated at the Oscars,
No,
but
neither will Jeremy Strong's nomination for The Apprentice for Best Supporting Actor. That was one that kind of came out of nowhere. So
mhm.
I don't think it's funny to see him nominated against Kieran Culkin, the
Oh yeah.
Succession boys. It's kind of funny, but that's not going to carry over to the Oscars. Unfortunately, I highly doubt.
Yeah, a lot of the let's see, out of that category, best performance by a male actor in a motion picture, musical or comedy. We have Jesse Eisenberg, Hugh
Mm.
Grant, Gabriel LaBelle, Jesse Plemons, Glenn Powell, and Sebastian Stan. None of these people are getting nominated at the Oscars.
Dude, Hugh Grant is a wild throw in there for Heretic. Is crazy.
I
That's
know.
not
That's
musical or a comedy.
yeah, it's like a horror film. There
Yeah.
was I forget which film it was, but I walked into the wrong theater and it was like halfway through the movie and it was Heretic. And so I just was there for 20 seconds looking up at Hugh Grant killing it. I don't know what was going on in the scene or anything, but he was chewing the scenery like crazy.
Oh,
And I
nice.
was like, this is not the movie I'm here to see. So then I walked out. But
Was he
I,
funny?
he was. I almost wanted to like check out that film because I saw some of the trailers too. And it was one of those things where like, oh, this looks kind of ridiculous, but it seems like he in particular would have a lot of fun making this movie.
Yeah.
And
I mean, he's a
when
good actor.
stuff like that happens, it's just great. Like it's infectious to watch. So
I'm gonna check it out when it's streaming somewhere. I don't think I was. I think it's already out of theaters anyway. But
yeah, you can let me know if I'll like it for the rest of it. Again, Hugh
yeah,
Grant,
yeah,
I think would be cool. I don't know that I'd watch the whole movie just to see
mm,
that, but yeah, you can let me know if it'd be worth it. But that's a
absolutely.
very like this whole lineup is kind of
It's a crazy.
wild,
Yeah.
pretty awesome.
Who are the men nominated for the drama category? Do you have that pulled up right now?
Yeah, let me go ahead. So, best performance by a male actor in motion picture drama: Adrian Brody for The Brutalist, Timothy Chalamet, A Complete Unknown, Daniel Craig, Queer, Coleman Domingo, Sing Sing, Ray Fiennes for Conclave, and this is going to be that will be the Oscar lineup, I think, and
Yeah,
then Sebastian Stan for The Apprentice.
yeah. That's
So
so funny. Yeah, they pulled it straight out of drama. Comedy got fucked this year for the
they
guys,
really
for the
did, yeah.
boys. But then
So
if you look at the lead actress in a comedy, the female actor in a comedy, that category is stacked this year.
let me see best
That one has Carlos
performance.
Sofia Gascon. That one has Mikey Madison.
Oh yeah, Demi Moore. It has Cynthia Erivo, Amy
Yeah,
Adams, and Zendaya. So an interesting mix there. Yeah, a few will definitely get called up for the Oscars,
indeed.
but half of them I think will get cut out. Cynthia Erivo for Oscars. Do you think that'll happen?
At this point, with how popular Wicked is, it's definitely possible. I didn't think it'd be this popular. I didn't think it would take off this much.
Yeah.
But because who's
Are
getting kicked out? Do you
you?
think? I guess Saoirse Ronan would get kicked out, right? If she was going to get nominated for the hour, or Felicity Jones if they're pushing for Best Supporting Actress.
Yeah, Felicity Jones. If they go for supporting for her, I
I
think
think Cynthia
there would be
Erivo takes her
room
spot
for Erivo to come in. Nicole Kidman looks like she
for Baby
might
Girl.
get in. Yeah, apparently she's been
I got to see
getting.
that. That looks
She got
good.
nominated here, and then a couple other like critics groups because those are coming out around this time as well. So
Mm.
I think she's going to get in there. I'm excited for that film as well. Like, it's like a Christmas film. It comes out at Christmas, but yeah, I'll be
Dude, we're
curious to see
eating this
that.
Christmas. We got Brutalist, we got Nosferatu, we got Baby Girl. This is a good Christmas.
none of which fit the Christmas vibe, but
Yeah. I might go see Nosferatu on Christmas. I mean, I'm doing something with my family on Christmas Day, but if I have time, I might go watch Nosferatu on Christmas Day because it'd be funny.
it'll be fun. Yeah, Pamela Anderson got nominated for The Last
Yeah.
Showgirl.
I'm not
It's pretty
surprised about that
cool.
one. Yeah. I heard
And
she's very
then
good in it.
and then Angelina Jolie for Maria.
Oh,
That
of
one I
course.
am hearing that it might happen at the Oscars as well.
I gotta
So
watch
that'll
that
be one
movie.
of
That's
the.
on my watch list. It's on Netflix now.
It's already it's out on Netflix.
Yep,
Okay, gotta add that to the list. But all right,
absolutely.
any
Yep.
other major surprises or snubs?
No, I mean the TV category shaked out kind of exactly how I thought it would.
Yeah, the only big thing there was House of the Dragon season 2 did not get nominated, so I thought that was pretty
Based.
notable since the first one won in its year, which is kind of crazy. And then Squid Game got nominated for its forthcoming second season. Hasn't come out yet. I think that's also like cusp of Christmas. So again, wild Christmas vibes this year, but maybe fitting ultimately.
That's awesome.
Um, and then yeah, Shogun got nominated there, so that's definitely going to win. And then we'll see if The Bear will take it in television this time
I
around, or
think
if
they
something
will.
else
For
will come in
comedy, I
and
think they will. It's
yeah,
either that or Abbott Elementary.
indeed. So interesting stuff. But yeah, once the ceremony happens, sometime in early January, right? Is it what January 12th? Am I making that up? We can maybe fact check that real quick, but we'll definitely go through our full predictions and then cover the results. So that'll be exciting and give us more clues as to what the Oscars ceremony will have in store. But all right, let's
Mhm.
move on to casting news. So, Dylan, I have 6 casting announcements here.
Yes, you do.
One of these is fake, and I want you to, I don't know what you have seen, what your news feeds have been giving to you, but I want to see if you can find which one is fake. So I'm just going to list all of them out, um, and give you at least a second just to
Can I
see
ask
if it
one
were.
question beforehand?
Yes,
The fake one, did you come up with it on your own or did you pull it from like a joke online?
I came up with it.
Oh, God. That
Why?
really sucks. We'll explain why later. Keep going.
Okay.
Go ahead.
So, and then I want, if it's real, like just assume they're all real. I want
Uh-huh.
you to give like a one word reaction to it. Okay.
Mhm.
Joseph Quinn to play George Harrison in the Beatles biopic.
I believe this one is real because I read that online and I want to say, cool. Joseph Quinn is a good actor. George Harrison is my favorite Beatle, so high standards there. I'm hoping for a killer performance. I think he can do it. I'm not a fan of musical biopics in the first place. I don't think these movies they're making 4 of these movies back to back. I think it's
Hmm.
unnecessary. But I think he's a very good actor, and I look forward to seeing what he can do with my favorite Beatle.
Your favorite Beatle? Wow, interesting.
Yep.
Jeremy Allen White as Rhoda the Hutt in Mandalorian and Grogu.
This is why I asked my question. Is I saw a joke online about this, and if you because you said you came up with this on your own, I'm assuming that this is real, which is crazy to me. So I saw a joke online where it was like a little baby Rhoda the Hutt from Clone Wars, and they put Jeremy Allen White like over him, and he's going hands. I need hands. Just so dumb. Why?
Dude, it's just so awesome. When I saw that, and again, I think it's real. I mean, I was looking at
It
stuff,
can't
and
be real.
it was reported in official like trades and everything. But it's like, why? Why does he? Because yeah, he doesn't speak English. I mean, I
Well,
guess he could.
some of the Huts do speak
They
English in
do,
the
but
Clone Wars. Yeah,
if they're gonna make them, I guess that'd be hilarious if they did do that.
yeah.
A more refined hut. But no, that's just so awesome. And then that because that's so ridiculous, that made me want to do this idea of
Mm-hmm.
like, let me just see if he could pinpoint the fake
Mm-hmm.
one. Austin Butler to play Patrick Bateman in Luca Guadagnino's American Psycho.
This one is also real. I've seen news articles about this. Only okay if he does the Elvis voice or the Dune 2 impression of Stellan Skarsgård that he does. One of
That would
those two
be
would be fun.
yeah, superb
I
stuff.
don't want him to just copy Christian Bale.
We'll probably have to wait till SNL to get Elvis as Patrick Bateman, but it should be fun either way.
Mhm.
Sydney Sweeney as Amy in Sonic 3.
I'm guessing because I haven't seen this yet, but I'm guessing this is real, and I think that's cool. I like all of the casting they've done for the Sonic movies. I think they come out good.
Nice. And then Jennifer Love Hewitt returning for I Know What You Did Last Summer sequel.
I believe it, and I think that's fine.
All right, solid. And then Tom Holland as Paul McCartney in the Beatles biopic.
Fake. I
Fake.
know this shit's fake.
How come?
I'm pretty sure because I know Joseph Quinn's playing George Harrison. I've seen the casting announcements. Barry Keoghan is playing Ringo. I forget who's playing John Lennon, but I'm 99% confident that Paul Mescal is the one playing Paul McCartney. Am I wrong?
So this is why it's a very compelling thing. So there was a news report about that, but it was Ridley Scott saying that. So and he's not making that movie. So he
Yeah,
was, I think, just as he always does, very opinionated guy. He was like, yeah, Paul Mescal should play Paul McCartney, but he has nothing to do with that production. I don't think so. He was just like repping for
yeah,
his guy, I guess.
sure,
So
as
Paul
one does.
Mescal, at least to my knowledge, is not playing Paul McCartney.
Okay.
However, to my knowledge so far, Tom Holland is also not playing Paul McCartney.
Yeah,
I just pulled that out of nowhere.
pull that out of your
Um,
ass. That'd be such a bad casting, bro. I love Tom Holland, but he just cannot play Paul McCartney. Come on. He's already
yeah,
doing the Fred Astaire biopic. He doesn't need to do the Beatles one.
exactly. And
He would
then,
make a very good Fred Astaire.
yeah, for sure, with all his dance background and everything.
Paul McCartney.
And then there's one other fake one. It was the
Really?
Sydney Sweeney one.
Oh, you threw two in there, you schmuck. That was a
I
good one
needed to make it
too.
more believable to see which one, because the Road to the Hut, Sydney Sweeney is Amy, and then the Tom Holland is Paul McCartney. All of those are absurd. So if you didn't know about the Road to the Hut one beforehand, I just think it'd be funny for you to
That's
see
why I
those
asked the question.
three
I saw the bit
absurd
online and I
ones.
thought it was a fucking joke, dude. So I didn't know it was real until we did this casting news, and I was like, no fucking way. It's just
So yeah,
so dumb.
we have that to look forward to. Um, and then here, let's see. So I think, yeah, I don't know if it's confirmed yet. It's still rumored that Paul Mescal is supposed to be Paul McCartney.
I
So
think
we
he'd
will
be a good
see.
choice to play Paul
I think so
McCartney.
too. But
But I'm really behind of the four that I've heard. I don't remember who was playing John Lennon, but it said some rumor somewhere. But I'm really behind Barry Keoghan as Ringo Starr. I think it's a good choice.
I think so too. But all right, so that's our little casting game. Oh, here's wait. No,
Harris
that's okay.
Dickinson.
Any British white guy right now, everyone is just getting asked on the red carpet, "Hey, which which Beatle would you want to play?" So I think
Yeah.
Harrison Dixon just responded to a question about that,
Mhm.
but he has not been actually cast yet. But that would be
Yeah.
awesome. I
I do
think
like
Harrison
him too.
Dixon
Yeah.
would be great as Lennon, but no, I think he's good. So we shall see. All right, now let's jump into the box office breakdown for December 6th to the 8th. Moana 2, of course, coming in first place with 51 million.
Followed tightly, not so tightly, behind by Wicked with 36 million.
And then Gladiator 2, 12 million.
Then Pushpa, The Rule, Part 2, 9.3 million.
Red 1, hanging out in the top 5, 7 million.
Interstellar in its 10-year re-release, 4.6 million.
Big, huge stuff. Solo
Yeah.
Leveling, Reawakening with 2.4 million.
For King and Country, A Drummer Boy Christmas. What are these movies? 2.2 million.
They're just Christmas specials. Y2K, 2.1 million.
And the best Christmas pageant ever, 1.5 million.
People cannot get enough of the best Christmas pageant ever. They
It's
love it.
literally the best.
Cannot be beaten. All right, let's do the predictions. December 13th to the 15th. We have two new films entering: Craven the Hunter and Lord of the Rings War of the Rohirrim. Dylan, do you think either of these can dethrone Moana 2 or Wicked to take the top spot?
I think Craven and Lord of the Rings are both going to get over Wicked, but I don't think either of them will pass Moana 2. I think Moana 2 is going to hold strong at like a little over 30 million, and I think Craven the Hunter is going to come in at about 25 to 30, and I think Lord of the Rings is going to do similar. I think Wicked is going to drop down to just under 20.
Gotcha. Yeah, I think Moana 2 probably won't hit 30 million. I think Craven the Hunter will probably get 20 million. Wicked, 36. Yeah,
It's had good holds, but
I think
I think
Wicked,
there's just so much competition. It's been out for so long. I think it's going
but
to drop down.
people are loving it. It's
I
getting that like
know.
rewatch fever now where people are just going back to the theaters to see it again.
It's crazy,
So
dude.
I think Wicked could probably, that'd be a great hold for this, what, third weekend or fourth weekend. So
Yeah,
we'll
fourth
see,
weekend, I
but
think.
I think it can beat out Craven the Hunter. Um, and then War of the Rohirrim. I did see like the preview numbers for it.
Yeah.
It's not looking good. It is
Really?
not looking good.
So
So
sad.
that one might not even break top five. Uh, yeah, it could fall under red one, which would be crazy.
That'd be
Um,
really sad.
so we will see. We'll see how bad it gets, but yeah, not great.
Yeah. Now let's talk about Interstellar. It came out in 2014. We both saw it when it first came out. We were both very young and impressionable, and it's a Christopher Nolan movie, one of his best. And now it has been re-released in full glory in IMAX theaters for its 10-year anniversary. Ryan, you and I both had the opportunity to rewatch it.
Hmm.
Please tell me about the first time you ever saw it.
So I did see it when it came out. I remember vividly at the start of 2014. I was looking at this would be a throwback, iFunny. Remember that back in
Oh
the day
yeah, I do.
before it became what it is now, some like
Super
right wing
red pilled.
cesspool. Yeah.
Turned
Um,
crazy.
back in the day when it was just memes and other stuff, it there was like a post of all the films coming out in 2014, and I remember seeing Interstellar in November. I was like, "Oh, that seems cool." So I looked it up to learn more about it. It was Christopher Nolan, who I knew of at that time. I wasn't quite, a Nolan acolyte, and I don't think he had risen to, the top of the food chain as far as like film bro culture goes. But I remember recognizing that name and being like, "Oh, that would be cool." And then when the trailer came out, as you know, I'm a fan of trailers. I love a good trailer, and that one was
Mm.
quite solid. So a big epic space adventure. I was looking forward to it. So when it came out, and my dad loves space and sci-fi and everything, so definitely uh, we had to go see it, and it was incredible. It was so fantastic. As you know, I have endlessly quoted parts of this film,
Oh yeah.
particularly any sentence that ends with Murph.
Don't let me leave, Murph. Don't
Come
let me
on,
leave,
Murph.
Murph. Come on,
Don't let me
Murph.
leave,
Don't let me
Murph.
leave. You're just
So
so
good.
good. I'm so jealous.
And
Don't
again,
let me
it's
leave,
just,
Murph.
I was just,
Come
I don't know
on,
why, but the
Murph.
fact that he said Murph so many
It's
times
just so funny.
was so amusing to 14-year-old me that I was like, I need
Don't
to,
make me leave like this, Murph. Come on, Murph.
any chance I get, I just need to say it. So
You gotta
that
name
was,
your kid Murphy.
dude, one of the questions I was going to ask on this pod was,
I
Dylan, what would you say if I named my kid Murph?
would love that, dude. It would be there's only
It'd be
one
the
way you could
best
say
bit.
because their name would be Murphy, but you would only call them Murph, and you would only do it in Matthew McConaughey's voice.
Exactly.
It would be
It
the
would
best
only be
thing in the
Murph.
world. They wouldn't even understand. Your wife and your child wouldn't understand. I would just come over and you would go, yeah, the kids upstairs in that ride, Murph. you would fall into the Matthew McConaughey voice.
I could never show them Interstellar though, because when we would watch it, they would catch on and be like, "Wait a minute,
Dad, that's
Dad."
that's exactly how you say my name. You
Yeah.
sound just like
Yeah.
him. What are you talking about, Murph?
You're
I
crazy,
don't
Murph.
sound
Come
nothing
on.
like him, Murph. Come on, Murph. Why would I do that, Murph?
But yeah. But after watching it, that question popped into my
Please,
mind where I'm
dude.
like, that would just be
Please.
so funny.
It would be awesome.
It's a great name though, and
I
clearly,
see
I
you
mean,
being
he
the
has
kind of
fun
guy
saying
to
it.
name a kid after Murphy's Law. I can see you doing it.
Well, and it's funny too. They just rewrite Murphy's Law in here, as they do the third Newton's third law. Um,
It's fine. It's
but
a
yeah,
movie.
I think Murphy's a good name though in general. So
Mhm.
and unisex as well. So
Absolutely, yeah.
either
Murphy
way,
Brown.
whichever kid it is,
Yeah.
girl or boy, they can't be spared from Murphy.
Marv. Come
So
on, Marv. Your other kid could be
no, it's gotta
Cooper,
get
which is
Murph.
also not gender specific.
That is
Anybody
true.
can be Coop.
And
Murph and
first
Coop.
name and last name, because the son, Casey
Isn't that the
Affleck's son,
best?
is Cooper.
Coop Cooper. Isn't that the best?
Just so silly.
I love that. This movie has like put so much effort into trying to be as realistic as space travel in the world, like as scientific as possibly can, based on Kip Thorne's like actual writings.
Mhm.
And they name the kid Coop Cooper
Yeah.
because they just weren't thinking about it.
I mean, I think they just wanted to go that way. I don't know.
It just
I
slipped.
mean, Dr. Man as well, a very on the nose thing there. So they were just having fun with the names, and I
Yeah.
appreciate that, as they should. What is Matthew McConaughey's first name in this film? Do we know?
No, he's
Because
just
he's
Doctor Man.
exclusively referred to as Cooper, even by the grandfather,
I
John
think
Lithgow.
I think his name has to be Coop Cooper because if
No,
you're because the alternative is that you're naming your son after your dad's nickname, which is his
last name,
last
which is
name,
also your last name. Yeah,
which is also your last name. You wouldn't name your kid after your last name, but if your dad's name was Coop Cooper, naming your son Coop Cooper isn't that crazy. I mean, it is crazy, but at least it makes a little more sense than just calling your son's first name the same as his last name, just
right.
because that was your dad's nickname. Doesn't make any sense. But if Matthew McConaughey's name is Coop Cooper, it
Hmm.
tracks.
Yeah, but somewhere along the way, Coop Cooper, someone decided to name a kid whose last name was Cooper Coop, and that's just crazy to me.
Yeah.
So anyway, yeah, Murph, hilarious, love that. And then so much of it had stuck into my brain because again, some of the set pieces in here, which we'll definitely talk to death, I'm sure,
Mm.
fantastic, incredible, so memorable, and the emotionality of it as well. Like the whole, again, I make fun of it, and we'll talk about the experience rewatching it here in IMAX of all the Murph scenes, but
Hmm.
those scenes still hit incredibly hard. Like they're very, very
Yeah.
well done. And so, yeah, it was just a great film overall. Again, I think it was like what solidified Christopher Nolan as being like, oh, this is like the filmmaker of this generation. Like any film he puts out is going to be a spectacle. It's going to be an event. Matthew McConaughey as well. This is what put him on my radar. I've loved him ever since.
Yeah, you
Um,
did. Green lights, baby. Green lights.
from Green Lights, so yeah, as an artist, and then
All right,
just
all right, all right.
in general as a guy. I was watching him and Gordon Ramsay. They did Gordon Ramsay just has like a YouTube channel where he'll cook with people, and
Yeah,
Matthew
he
McConaughey was a
does.
guest on it. So just watching that, very fun stuff, very great.
I watched a
Uh,
video of some dudes trying to promote like a tequila thing, and they were making a pickle margarita with Matthew McConaughey to promote the tequila brand.
oh yeah, he's got his
Just
own
watching him
tequila.
mix the pickle margarita, he's like, nah, add a little more pickle juice in there. Yeah, I like that. That's nice, real nice.
Just
Yeah,
what a guy, man.
he's
What
just
a
so cool, so effortlessly
an
cool.
interesting, eclectic, cool guy. Yeah. Um, and then
This place is a ghost town, like someone's faded memory of a town.
too good. Did he do an audiobook for Green Lights?
Yeah, he did.
That's awesome. I should get that because I
You
read
should.
it, of course.
I read it
But
too. Yeah, I borrowed your copy.
I would love to
It's a
listen
great
to
book.
that. It'd be hilarious. Um, so yeah, it was just a very, I don't know, seminal moment, I guess, for me as a movie fan in general, and then just a whole bunch of interests. Again, my interest in space and everything like that, uh, coalescing into this one film that I think back then was a full-on masterpiece. I did look back to see if I had written uh, like an actual. I didn't though. It was just a rating. But you know how I used Rotten Tomatoes back in the
Yeah,
day.
sure.
Interstellar was one of the like first films I did. I think it was because of this film. I think that I made that account.
Hmm.
So credit to Interstellar for that yet again.
Do you remember
The
what you
laid the
put?
seeds for the. Here, I'll pull it up right now to
Oh,
see.
please do.
But a little spoiler for later on. But this is just a
Hmm.
full on classic. I think it's a modern masterpiece. And watching it in IMAX in the theaters, that theatrical experience, oh my god, it's unlike anything else. It was so amazing. So yeah, I love this film. How about you?
Yeah.
How was your first experience with it? And
I've
then,
had a tumultuous go with it when it comes to Interstellar.
oh, fascinating.
So I remember I didn't know anything about this movie because I wasn't in 2014. I wasn't into like the Christopher Nolan kind of space. I guess I don't even think I had
Hmm.
seen Inception yet. I just knew of the Dark Knight movies. I probably had seen a couple of them, but didn't know who Christopher Nolan was. I was 14 years old. I didn't really know much of anything, and Brendan was the one who said, "I just saw Interstellar, the new Christopher Nolan movie. It is awesome. You have to go see it." So I went with him to go watch it, and like one of the best theatrical experiences of my life. That wasn't even an IMAX screen. It was just like a normal, regular theater, but it was like blowing my ears out with the sounds and the
Hmm.
set pieces, like you were saying. It was like incredible. And then after that point, is when I got older. I started watching a bunch of new movies, watched a bunch of older movies, started getting really into filmmaking, like the aspects of it. And when I got into college, I started watching even more movies, watching the Criterion Channel movies, smaller movies, artsier movies. And I started to think that Interstellar doesn't really land like the idea it's trying to do, thinking that like it's trying to be scientific, but also hammer home the point that like love is how they communicate across the universe, things like that. Like not fully engaging with that ending as much as I would have liked to. I had seen it a couple of times since the first time in the theaters, and like it just didn't land as much for me. It's a very long movie. Uh, I don't know. There was just like a lot. Like, of course, it like looks great, but there was like a lot of things that I'm like, it's lacking in a lot, and I wish
Mm.
I liked it more. Like I liked it more when I first saw it when I was 14, but as I've gotten older, not so much.
Hmm.
And so I was going back to watch it this time last week, and knowing that I had those hangups about it a little bit, and knowing that I had hangups about Oppenheimer, and that I have hangups about certain other Christopher Nolan movies in terms of like the way they're written, because all of his movies are directed fantastically, they look fantastic, but like Tenet, Oppenheimer, The Prestige, like I have some problems with the way that they're written.
Hmm.
So I was going into this being like, I don't know, it's no Inception, you know. Inception is like solid start to finish. Memento's solid start to finish. I don't know if I'm gonna like it as much as I remember liking it, or like Dunkirk is solid start to finish. But I'll just try and have a good time with it. And dude, Interstellar, especially in IMAX, is the greatest theatrical experience
Let's
you
go.
have in your life.
Yes.
My fucking god, dude!
Which
I
did you see
cried
it
four
in?
times, dude.
That's what I'm saying. It's so good.
Cried so much.
Did you see it
I did not cry
in?
the first time that I watched it when I was 14 years old because I was a kid. I didn't understand. But now
Yeah.
I'm older. I'm 24 years old. I'm watching this movie. I'm watching Matthew McConaughey choose to leave his child behind seemingly forever to go off into space and probably never return. And I'm like forcibly holding back tears because I'm sitting alone. Like I'm not even around anybody. I'm like, I just can't cry alone in a theater watching Interstellar. I can't do that.
Hmm.
And dude, when he comes back, like the music combined with his truck driving off and like the countdown to the takeoff, him actually departing. Oh my fucking god, dude! The music swelling. Oh my fucking
It was
god, dude!
incredible, and what a great choice as well to just like
To
him
have the
leaving.
takeoff be him leaving in the truck and then it immediately cuts to the ship in space.
Beautiful,
Oh,
beautiful.
because every sci-fi movie has the takeoff. Every sci-fi movie has that, but that's not what it's about. It's about him leaving. It's not about
Hmm.
him going. It's about him leaving. And then at the end, when he finally gets to see Murph again, and she's an old woman, and he's this pretty much the same age as he was when he left. Oh my god, dude! I was all the time that he lost. Oh god, broke my heart, dude. I bawled in the theater. Oh my god,
Yeah,
it's so heartbreaking.
it's so powerful. It's so
It is
powerful.
Hans Zimmer's best score. And the fact that I know who he lost the Oscar to. It was Alexander Desplat for The Grand Budapest Hotel, which I understand. That movie is fantastic. But Hans Zimmer in Interstellar, why couldn't they have just let the movie come out like a year earlier? He would have won, dude. It's his best score by far. It is incredible.
It is a legendary score. Absolutely. What theater did you see at Waterford or
Waterford,
Point
yeah.
Orlando? Okay,
I wish I had gone to Point Orlando, but I didn't want to make the drive. The Point Orlando IMAX is the big IMAX.
it is. I saw it there,
Oh,
dude.
fuck, dude.
Dude,
That
it
shit's
was
that theater's
incredible.
huge. Dude. That's where I saw Everything Ever All at Once for the
Yeah, I
first time.
remember
It's a
remember you
great
mentioning
theater.
that. And it is there's just a different vibe too, like walking into it, because there's only one real
Yeah.
entrance into it, and then you gotta walk up
The
these
fact
like
that the seats are at more of
stadiums.
an incline, it feels more like an auditorium than like
Exactly,
a
yeah.
movie theater. And that screen is just physically larger than I think any other screen in Central Florida.
It is,
It
yeah.
is massive. Dude, seeing that was it awesome?
It was so
I'm
awesome.
so jealous.
And this happens in like some of the, the Waterford as well, but to like a higher degree of
Mhm.
the seat just rattles. Like
Oh
the
yeah, dude.
sound when the score hits height,
When
it
it's
just
going
rattles.
off and like the ship is like at full blast, I can hear the vents in the ceiling rattling because of how much it's vibrating in the theater. But it just
Mhm.
sounds like it's the ship because I mean the ship is also rattling in the movie, but I can tell that it's the air vents above me because of how
Yeah.
loud it is.
It's
Just a
just so
great dude. Imagine
immersive in that
RPX.
moment.
Oh my god,
That's what I'm
dude.
saying. Like that. That's why I talked about this for Top Gun Maverick, but I just want like a full 4DX. Like I need a seatbelt and I'm strapped in. And if we're at an incline, we're going 90 degrees up, I want to be flipped up as well. Like I
Yeah.
need an experience like that. But this is as best as it can get. I mean, it was just so like the sound itself, the force of that just rattling the chair beneath you. That's
Mhm.
incredible. Like, there's no
Yeah.
way not to be fully roped in.
I want to be I want to state that I still do have some hangups with the end of the movie and the story itself. I do have a few like criticisms of how the movie plays out because of that. But putting that thing up on the big screen with the surround sound that it has, it makes it almost not even fucking matter.
It's undeniable, yeah.
It looks
I
so glorious. I'm
it's
sucked into this movie, dude.
it's incredible, and I agree with you. We'll talk through some of the, like, hangups here and there, um, and there's a few moments where just some silly stuff happens where I'm like, "Is that really how someone would react?"
Hmm.
We'll get to it, but I'm like, at the end of the day, again, the amount of times that I was like gripping my chair or practically edge of my seat or literally
Hmm.
like my mouth agape, like just stunned at the imagery that I'm looking at,
It's
or the
insane how
tears
good it
welling up in my
looks. The
eyes, the lump
CGI is
in my throat,
ridiculous.
like everything, it just works. There's so many stretches of the movie that are just undeniably perfect and
Yeah.
do so well at what a movie is supposed to get you to do, which is transport you and then get an emotional reaction out of you. Like that was happening constantly, nonstop. So it's like all those little moments here and there, and yeah, some of the, like, I guess just bigger ideas that he sort of like hand waves, which some of his work, again, we're not doing a full Christopher Nolan deep dive, but when we do eventually do that, we can talk more
Hmm.
about how this sort of fits in. But just that
Yeah.
idea of like just give yourself over to it, like just feel it.
Hmm. Oh,
At a
dude.
certain point, stop like trying to put two and two together so
It's
much.
such a
Just like,
ride. It's such a beautiful, wonderful
let it
ride.
wash over you, yeah, and then you'll have a great experience. And I did. It was so good.
Yeah. I multiple times in the movie, especially like because the first like 40 minutes is all on Earth, which I think is a great choice of just setting the stage that is a drama about this family, about Matthew McConaughey and his children and his like relationship to his daughter. And setting that stage very clearly from the beginning, making that the whole emotional through line of we are fighting for the continuation of our species because we care about what comes next for our family.
Hmm.
And that is how we can move our perspective beyond just what we are going to experience. We think about it in terms of like how our continued generations are going to experience it. I think it's a great choice, but every time it was going into like the space scenes and I was seeing these great, you know, CGI shots of them in space and like the insane sound effects and the great shots of Saturn and of the crazy shaping of the wormhole and of the black hole, all of these things. I'm thinking like obviously this is so inspired by 2001 A Space Odyssey. What would Stanley Kubrick think sitting next to me? Like if he was there watching this, what would his reaction be? And it sounds cheesy to say, and obviously, like he's. I think he would have the same hangups that I do about the story. I think we'd have a lot of criticisms about the dialogue, but I think looking at just those shots of the space and those action sequences of like the rumbling of the spaceship and how realistic it feels and how swelling the music is, dude, I think he would just cry because I was about to cry, dude. I mean, it is so phenomenal and fantastic as like a spectacle
Hmm.
that it almost makes it completely for all the hangups that there are about the story and like the follow through it has.
Agreed. Like the wormhole sequence in particular was one that I hadn't remembered as well as a lot of the other set pieces and moments. That was, I think, probably as far as like spectacle goes, the peak of the movie for me. Like again, I was like you were just saying there, like just witnessing the beauty of it, the wonder of it, is so strong and so powerful. Like my mouth was wide open. I was like in awe, like a child just seeing something amazing for the first time. It was stunning. Like number one, just on the conceptual level, so cool of them to like approach that idea. And again, I'm sure Kip Thorne and whoever else was, advising on that is like, yeah, this is most likely how it would be. So they give that pretty unique rendition of a wormhole, different than how we've
Hmm.
seen just all these other, sci-fi films that sort of hand wave it away. They try and give a more uh, solid explanation of how it would actually
It's a
materialize.
sphere, yeah. It has this like weird shaping to it where they're sort of like colliding into it like a wave. It just looks
Exactly.
gorgeous.
Yeah, it looks gorgeous. And so as they're approaching, again, the score is kicking in, the tension there of like we're about to enter something that we have no idea like how it's actually going to go. Again, I guess we all haven't, but again, when you're like taking off on a flight or when you hit turbulence or things like that, like imagine that you're in space about to enter another galaxy. Like it just brings it up to another level. And so the confusion, the fear, the beauty, the wonder, like all of that for these characters is going on all at once. And that extends to us, the audience, as we're seeing these beautiful images, like these breathtaking stars and galaxies, nebulas, like all these things, again, warped a little bit by that sphere of the wormhole. It was just so good. And again, that godly score by Hans Zimmer, it just brings it all together. And it was
Oh
magical.
God.
Like it was an out of body experience, pretty much. Like it was my favorite moments in a theater this year for sure. And I don't know, like that's got to be top 10 all time. Like that was just incredible to witness, to experience, to feel. So good. Like that's
Yeah.
why we go to movies. That's why movies are made. It's just, you can't get better than that.
Yeah. I would call this, in every sense of the word, like an epic. In the same way that Lawrence of Arabia is an
Oh,
epic
yeah.
or Ben-Hur is an epic. This is absolutely like a space epic. And
Hmm.
I can't think of a movie that has come out in the last 10 years since Interstellar that I would quite give the same amount of praise to, because nothing has felt as epic as this since it came out,
Hmm.
which is unfortunate. Like even Christopher Nolan's other movies, I don't think have been as epic. Naturally, I mean, Ten is an action movie. Dunkirk is a smaller war movie about like very personal moments in these soldiers' lives. Oppenheimer is close. I think it has a lot of epic scale to it in terms of like the magnitude that nuclear war has become in our world. But I still don't feel like that journey aspect that a true epic really has. And this is like Odysseus and his journey to get home, but in space. And it's
Hmm.
so grand and so large as a result of that. Even though there's so few characters and the plot really does like spotlight hone in on these characters, it still just feels so much larger than everything because the stakes are so high. It's the survival of the human race.
Hmm.
But I'm so
100%.
emotionally connected to the family and like where their journey goes. God, it is great. It is in every sense of the word stellar.
Indeed. So yeah, there's just so much to love, so much to talk about here. When they first go through the wormhole, again, magical experience, and then when they get to that other side, and now we're looking at all the different planets. They go to Miller's planet. Um, Another just great sequence
Oh,
of
dude.
tension building and that like first reveal of those are no mountains, those are waves. And then they
Those
got to rush back to the
waves.
ship. Uh, like that is fantastic.
Get back to the lander.
Exactly. Get back. And then the just the way that, and this is more from like a writing front, but again, the way he approaches it from the directorial standpoint, he milks it out so well. But just the way the tension ramps up here when that wave does hit, then we see the lander has to endure it, and then it has to once they're sitting, basically sitting ducks, hoping that the next one doesn't hit by the time they're able to let go of all the water. But by that point, again, the real thing that we're thinking about isn't even like, oh god, another wave is coming. It's all the time that they're losing on that
Oh,
planet
dude.
and how much of Murph's life is slipping away. How much of, for Dr. Brand on her side, like her father, like
Yeah.
he's an old man and they're losing so much time here. And so you're just wondering, like, when they do get back, if they're able to, get out of that next wave, how are they going to be able to deal with that situation? So it's just like creating that
Yeah.
scenario of like, we need to get in and out as quick as possible and then
Hmm.
thrust upon them an obstacle that delays them,
Yeah.
kills one of their team members,
Hmm.
also loses hope for the mission because that previous, it's one planet down, all that data may be gone. So it's just all that stuff coming together, centered on the emotional standpoint of like, I'm losing time with my family.
Hmm.
It's just so well
Now,
done.
yes, I totally agree. The thing that always hangs me up about this part is the math of it all, I guess. For a
Mm,
movie that is so focused on the math, I mean, they have 7 hour, every hour on that planet is 7 years on Earth. Yes.
yes.
And they are there for 27 Earth years, which would be like a little over 3 hours. Which no shot, buddy, no shot. They're on that planet for 3 fucking hours.
Yeah, they
Uh,
did. There was some, I don't know.
there's like directorial choices that are being made to keep the tension going, like that Christopher Nolan thinks is more important than making it sort of logically feasible that they are there for 27 years that I understand. But had you just done like a single match cut between scenes to show like the jumping of time, I would have believed 3 hours. Because there's a point where Tar says the engines have to cool down for 45 minutes to an hour. That's a great writing detail because now we are spending time there. We know we're wasting time, and they're talking about how they're wasting time. But then they immediately have to go because the wave is right there, and they just jumpstart the engines and they leave. They're on that planet for maybe 20 minutes, which is how long they thought they were going to be there in the first place.
Hmm.
But they're making it seem like it was over 3 hours. I just think that there is like just a like I understand. I can put it aside. I can put the logic jump aside for the sake of the movie and understanding that that's important. But I feel like there could have been a director choice there to just do a match cut to show the passing of time that would have been satisfactory for me.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think there's some implied time passage in there, and then
Yeah,
also it was never really clear to me the amount of time it takes them to get to the planet and then back from the
that's
planet
true.
onto the station. Like, how much does that account for
Yeah,
the like the years passing? Um,
that's
but I
fair.
agree with you there. Like, it definitely seems like they were much faster in getting out
Yeah.
of that planet than we're
There's
led to
multiple
believe
times in
as
this
far as
movie
like
where
3 hours.
they define a logic of how this should work realistically based on actual math done in real life, and it makes sense. And then they do movie magic to skip over it in order to tell the story better. And I just feel like if you're going to do that, what was the point of highlighting the realism of the math? Is like the biggest hang up I have about the movie. They do it multiple times, and especially at the end with like you can make the argument that yes, whoever these people in the distant future are that set up this thing used the feelings of love that Matthew McConaughey has for his daughter to create a bridge in time so that they can communicate across time and dimensions and whatnot. And you can
Hmm.
make that argument, but just the blatant fact that love is the answer, uh, it
It's
just feels like
love.
it's definitely like a leap in logic that I don't think they cover as well as they could. Like I understand what they're trying to go for. I just don't think it lands. That being said, I'm still crying like through half the movie. Like it still
For
gets me,
sure.
bro. On the big screen, get out of
Yeah,
here,
it's love, Murph.
dude. If you,
It's one thing that can travel across dimensions other than time.
I don't know,
It's
man.
love.
I think volume just makes such a difference in a movie. Had we been watching that on my TV in the living room on like half volume, which is
Dude,
not
yeah, that would
which
not have
we have
been.
done for what was it, Mad Max or something?
No, Dracula.
No, okay, Dracula. What was the movie we watched where my old roommate told us to keep it down?
Oh,
Where we had to put the volume down. It was like an action
that was
movie that
Fast Five.
was it? No,
Yeah, yeah. I think so. It was.
possibly. But there was one we were watching where it was like an action movie that we really both enjoyed a lot that we had to turn it down. I can't remember what it was. I thought it was Mad Max, but I might be wrong.
No, it was Fast Five. I
Okay.
would I would put money on that.
Yeah, but it's just like it's a different experience when you were watching it quiet, you know. But
That
you're in a
and
theater and you have the surround sound blasting the Hans Zimmer score. It makes it so emotional.
for sure. That and the size of the screen
Yeah.
definitely like plays a role. Again, I don't think I've ever watched a movie other than maybe something that was like for a class. Sometimes I'll watch that on my computer, but not even like a laptop, and certainly not a phone. Like, I don't know
Mhm.
how people are out here watching movies on their phones.
I watch movies on
It's just,
phones, but only if I've seen the movie already once.
there you go. So yeah, you have like some
I will
sort of
never watch a movie the
motivation.
first time on a phone. I think that's atrocious.
You
But at
can't do
work,
that
like if I'm doing nothing, like I have the Criterion Channel app on my phone. I watched Vertigo the other day at work. I've seen Vertigo before. I can watch it on my phone. It wasn't nearly as grand,
Even that's
but
kind of crazy. But yeah,
I
there's
don't
just
care. I've
certain
seen it
movies
before.
that I would never. Well, yeah, but you. And what are your thoughts on it? Do you like it? Did you like it the first time you watched it?
Vertigo? No, I have never liked it
See,
that
so you
much.
can't. If it's a movie you don't like, you have to give it the best
Oh,
possible
come on, dude.
opportunity.
I gave it that opportunity once, and I didn't like it that much.
Well, yeah, but if you're gonna
Or
rewatch it, don't rewatch a movie you don't like.
my hang up has nothing to do with the size of the screen, okay? Because Vertigo is Hitchcock's greatest looking movie, objectively. Like it is gorgeous.
Yeah,
Everything he's doing to shoot that movie is fantastic. I have no hangups about that. Even on the phone, it looks fucking phenomenal.
Hmm.
My hang up is the story, okay? And
Yeah, this is not.
putting that on the big screen is not going to make the story better, all right, buddy?
We'll revisit Vertigo later. But you did just say in this very podcast that you have hangups about the story, but watching it in that environment, the IMAX environment, biggest screen possible, best sound possible, it allows you to forgive those hangups easier. It just does. Like
Are you
it's
saying that Vertigo on the big screen is in any way equivalent to Interstellar on the big screen?
I'm saying the
Because
basic
I would never
principle.
make that argument.
No, I'm just saying the basic principle of like if you watched that imagery again, a gorgeous looking movie. Same with Lawrence of Arabia. If we watched it, if we caught it when it was in theaters
I
for
would
the
never watch
40th
Lawrence of
anniversary,
Arabia on my phone. That's ridiculous.
I would never either. But I'm saying even a big screen compared to TV,
Here's
what
my
massive
difference.
difference
Here's
it can
my
have on
difference.
the effect of it. You know.
I think the reason I can make that argument for Interstellar and not Vertigo is because Interstellar is, by all means, a large scope film that, when put on a small screen, is like it's hard to discern the detail of how grand it is because of how large the scope is. And same for Lawrence of Arabia. Everything is in wide shot. Everything is grand. It's huge landscapes. It's gorgeous. In Interstellar, it's these big planets and these big CGI shots. It looks fantastic. The ship is so tiny. If you put that on a small phone, it's hard to discern what's going on. But Vertigo, on the other hand, is very tightly shot. It's very close up. It's very personal. I think you can get away with a smaller screen on Vertigo. I'm not saying you should watch movies on your phone, especially if it's the first. You should never watch a movie for the first time on your phone. I think that's atrocious. But I think I can get away with Vertigo a lot easier than Lawrence of Arabia. Come on.
I mean, I would agree with that. That was my contention. I'm just saying, especially for a film that you already don't have the best feelings towards, I think you should try and give it the best possible opportunity to change your mind about it.
Hey
And
man, I should say that the second time I
you agree,
watched
a
it, even though it was
screen.
on my phone, I liked it more than the first time.
Well, that's good. And think of how much more you would have liked it if you were
I
in a
hate you so much.
theater scenario. You had no
Yeah, it would have.
distractions. You
Dude,
were,
if I could watch any movie in a movie theater, I would. Are you kidding me? I would watch every movie in a movie theater,
well, of
but I
course, but
can't
that's what I'm saying. If you, but I mean,
until
again,
you and I
step
are rich
up,
enough to buy our own movie theater and play whatever we want,
built in
whenever we
40X,
want.
so we can do the Top Gun Maverick thing.
Dude, we would have movie days. Like, we would have movie nights every week, dude. You and me,
It
if
would
we
be,
owned a movie theater, like a
that would
full size
be
movie theater,
incredible. Yeah,
I
I
would
would love
show Interstellar every day.
it.
Every day at 12 o'clock in the afternoon. Anybody that wants to watch Interstellar on the big screen, come on in.
Here we go. Yeah, that would be awesome.
Lawrence of Arabia,
Um,
too. That's a good one on the big screen, I bet. God, it'd be so cool to
you
see that on the
bet,
big screen.
because we haven't seen it yet. So think of how much more magical it'll be once we see it on a big screen,
There's some epic movies out there that I wish I could
restored.
see on the big screen.
Yeah, all in due time. Again, I waited. I hadn't rewatched this film in the past few years because I was waiting specifically for the re-release, the 10th anniversary. I was like, they're
That's
going to do it.
crazy.
They have to do it. And earlier this year, I was tested because they had still not confirmed it with IMAX, but they did do a re-release in April, but it was just in regular theaters. And so I was like, I could do it, or I could wait. I could gamble and wait on them making this deal with IMAX
Hmm.
and watch it at the end of the year.
It was a good wait.
And I decided to do that. I'm very happy that I did because it'd be crazy. It's the 10th anniversary. It's a Nolan film. It's
Yeah.
Interstellar. Why would you not have an IMAX re-release for it? That would be
Didn't they
perfect.
do a 35 millimeter at some point?
Maybe that might have been the
That would have
April.
been really cool to see, I think, personally.
Yeah, but I wanted the biggest possible
Yeah.
image.
I will say, though, I think any time that they re release Interstellar, I will be in line to go watch it.
There you
I
go.
will see
Me
this in
too.
theaters every single time it's in theaters. It's so fucking good in theaters. It's
100%.
great outside of theaters, but it is like otherworldly when you are seeing it on the big screen with the music and like the sounds on the surround sound. It is insanely different.
Agreed. 100%. So yeah, where were we? Miller's Planet. We did that. Yeah, I agree there. Even watching it this time, I was like, it didn't seem like they were waiting 3 hours when she was like,
Yeah,
"Oh, we're gonna lose decades," and he was like, "God dang it!" But then right after that, they're like, "Oh, another wave's coming quick.
yeah. I wish they
Fire up
just
the
done
engines. We're
one
in
cut,
decades."
dude, to make me believe that they were waiting for the engine to cool. Because they gave that plot point to set up the fact that they were going to lose time. And I was like, great. You've done the work here. You've defined the rule of the world, which is the rule of reality, that if you are on this planet, which is being sucked into the gravitational pull of a black hole, if you are there for an hour, you are missing 7 years on Earth. You've done the groundwork here to like explain relativity and make it work. You have Anne
Isn't that
Hathaway doing
crazy?
that
By the
great
way,
speech of time can stretch, time can compress, but time can't go backwards. Like, great speech for her to give. Great way to explain. You've explained how wormhole. You've done all the work here to explain how relativity works, but then you don't actually follow through on like applying that rule, and that is just unfortunate.
Yeah, agreed. And then we get Cooper and Dr. Brand returning to the ship. Romilly is older, and then Cooper goes in to watch the messages. 23 years worth of messages
Oh,
from
dude,
his kids.
crying.
It's so good. Oh
I'm
my god!
crying, dude.
Again,
I'm crying in the theater
tears
watching it, dude.
welling
This
up, lump in my throat, like a 5 pound rock just weighing me
Could you
down. I'm
imagine just
like,
like losing all this time with your loved ones?
it's brutal. It's so brutal. And can I just say again, McConaughey,
Kills
I
it.
love him for so many reasons, but like he is a true actor here. Like it is not easy to again like crying. It's just very tough to do well. Like some of it, uh, even if you're, I guess I mean crying like laughing again is sort of a unique thing. It's not really meant to be pleasant or aesthetic in any way. Like ugly crying is just like a thing that happens. But for the screen and everything, again, there's just like a very fine line of a cry that's believable versus one that isn't. This one felt so real and so powerful. And he starts off too with like the seeing your kid again, the joy that comes with it, and then slowly what you just said there, the pain of missing out on so much of your loved one's life, not being able to be there for that. It just washes over him, and then he descends into just crying and sobbing. And Nolan does a great job of just holding on that moment for like 30 seconds. And then we do get to see a bit of the messages that Cooper's seeing, but we just continually cut back to McConaughey just either actively crying or just completely exhausted and
Mhm.
distraught, like red, teary eyes, like he had already spent himself from crying, and then something new emerges that'll make him go into another fit there.
Yeah,
Just superb acting
absolutely.
and direction all around. It was magnificent.
Yeah. I mean, the whole movie itself is just an incredible experience. I don't think this movie got enough due credit when it first came out. I mean, of course, people love it. Everybody talks about how great Interstellar is. I just, I don't know. I don't think it got enough accolades at the time that it came out to where, looking back, this was one of the best movies that came out that year, if not that whole decade. Like,
Hmm.
if we're comparing it to a lot of movies that have come out in like the last 5 years, I just can't think of anything nearly as epic. In the last 25 years, I can't think of anything as epic as Interstellar. It's just
Wow.
so, as a theatrical experience, insanely profound and like
Agreed.
emotional.
Very agreed.
If they
Um,
had just tightened up that script, bro, if they just tightened it up, God.
I don't disagree, but again, they knew they were cooking, and they knew the
Yeah, they were
overall
cooking.
effect of that film
Yeah, yeah.
would live on, and it
And it
did.
does, yeah, yeah.
It's
Motherfuckers
a
love this movie. It's Mario Grace's favorite movie.
it's many people. It's my brother's favorite movie. It's my other quote brother Brandon's favorite movie. Like it's a lot of people, um, their favorite movie, which
Yeah.
100% makes sense. I mean, when you see it in that theatrical setting,
Especially
it's
when we
just
were
so
that
powerful,
age. I mean,
so
it's
strong.
yeah, it's very impressionable.
Yeah. So no, I have no qualms with like this being one of the certified classics or like the common, like mainstream normie answer of like, oh, favorite film,
I don't have a problem either.
Interstellar. Like it's
Nowadays, I did before watching it again in IMAX. I was like, "This is really your favorite movie." Like, it's not even my favorite Christopher Nolan movie, and it still kind of isn't. But it is, I
top
think,
three.
still perhaps definitely top three, maybe even the greatest theatrical experience I've ever had is Interstellar. The first time and this time,
Wow.
it's up there with
That's huge.
the first time I saw Parasite in theaters was an incredible experience. The first time I saw Everything Ever All at Once was an incredible experience. I don't know. I mean, there's the first time I saw what is it called? The Taylor Sheridan movie with Chris Pine. God, I can't remember the name of it with Jeff Bridges. You know what I'm talking about though. Hell or High Water. The first time I saw Hell or High Water, that was a really good theatrical experience. But I mean, Interstellar, man. Holy fuck, dude.
Yeah,
Such
it
a
is.
good theatrical experience. As a theatrical experience, it is like a 5 out of 5. Perfect. Couldn't make it a better
100%.
theatrical experience. As a
Yeah.
movie, I think I give it a 4.
Really?
Yeah.
That's crazy. I was gonna say, like, had I seen this, say, on a phone or laptop for the very first time this
Mhm.
year,
Yeah.
I would probably give it a 4. Actually, funny
Mhm.
enough, I pulled up my score on Rotten Tomatoes. Here's my I don't know why I said this. It said my only comment was stays true to sci-fi, period. Just like the actual period, not the word period, but um
Period.
that was it. November 7th, 2014, and I gave it 4 stars. And then
That's
since
awesome.
then, which I think was when I mean, I had to be right when it came out and when I watched it.
Yeah.
And so I guess this time around too, if I'd never seen it before and watched
Mhm.
it in my room or just on a phone, laptop, something like that, I'd probably give it a 4 as well. But again, it's that theatrical experience
Dude, it makes
that
it amps it up so much.
elevates it because that's when it's allowed to do its job the best, which is to immerse you,
Mhm.
wrap you into this epic that
Yeah.
spans the entire galaxy, multiple galaxies, time, dimensions, all that stuff. Like it is got grand ambitions and has a very solid father daughter story at its core.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
you let these filmmakers, these actors, Hans Zimmer go crazy.
Hans Zimmer,
Um,
man.
and it just is unmatched. So yeah, the theatrical experience is definitely magical. You gotta watch it in theaters if you
You have to
can.
see it on the biggest screen you possibly can with the best sound system you possibly could.
100%.
If you had to choose between watching this on IMAX or on a normal screen with Dolby surround sound, what would you pick?
I would do IMAX because I think enough of the sound is good, but enough of the force of the sounds came through in the IMAX
Yeah.
theater. Or again, I'm just talking about like if I'm having my seat rattle during the launch scenes and stuff like that, that's what I
Oh
need.
yeah.
Like that's good
Yeah.
enough. Um, so yeah, the Dolby stuff would be nice, but I want the huge
Mhm.
image with enough of that sound to make an impact. So I was
Yeah.
quite satisfied.
I think before having seen it again in IMAX, I would have said differently. I would have said the Dolby because I personally value sound a little more than imagery. I think like a really solid sound experience in the theater is what sells a good theatrical experience. And
Hmm.
knowing how great that Hans Zimmer score is, I would have wanted to feel it at like as great as I possibly could. But having seen this in IMAX and having gotten what was to me a great audio experience in IMAX with just the normal surround sound that they have on the biggest screen possible, it was magnificent. It was glorious
100%.
because the visuals, as well as the score, are just so stunning.
Indeed.
Did it win
Uh,
any Oscars? It had to win Best CGI.
Best visual effects. I don't know. Take a look at that.
I'll check it
Uh,
out.
and I'll mention so the next major moment going to Man's Planet, where we see Matt Damon emerge from the cryo sleep, which again, just a great entrance there of him immediately sobbing at seeing another person's face. And then it's Matt Damon as well, so we're immediately primed to like him.
Yeah, one
And
Oscar for visual effects, bro.
crazy. What
No
what
Oscar,
yeah,
no Oscar nomination for music, sound mixing, sound editing, and production design, and only one for visual effects. All the rest were nominations. Isn't that crazy? Sound mixing and sound editing, it should have won that shit. Come
yeah,
on,
kind of ridiculous. Imagine if Interstellar came out this year.
dude.
It'd
Cleans up.
be front runner for everything. It'd be
Yeah.
insane. Yeah, I mean, if Cynthia Erivo, which no disrespect to her, Ariana Grande, again, any of these like performances for Blockbuster, I think because it's musical, that's why they're probably going to get nominated for it, which is very impressive. Again, I hadn't seen the BTS videos yet, but they're saying she was like singing, fully belting out Defying Gravity while on wires
Yeah,
and
I've
being
seen the
flung
BTS.
around.
It is crazy.
That's
Yeah,
insane. So
it's
that is
very
pretty impressive.
impressive. Yeah, it's very
Um,
impressive.
but like Matthew McConaughey in this, I would say if we're starting to nominate like Wicked for acting performances, he should have gotten an acting nomination.
Dude,
Like this year, I
absolutely
would
he
be
should have.
vying for that because that's crazy. Um, he was so good. He's so good.
He's so good in this. He carries it.
He does. Again, it's centered on him, but a great cast as well. But
Anne
certainly
Hathaway is also doing fantastic.
he's so good.
She's
Yeah,
very like subtle and subdued in a lot of her scenes. And the scene where they're debating about going to Man's Planet or to going to Wolf's Planet, Edward's planet, because she's in love with Edwards, she's great in that. Talking about how love is pulling her to Edwards.
Hmm. Yeah, I love that. And then him,
Yeah,
dude, Cooper was dirty for this one, where
yeah.
he's like, "Tars, are they in love?" And then he's like, "Yep." And then he didn't even, because they were initially going to vote on it. He didn't even do the
Said
vote. He was
chart
like,
a charter path for man's planet.
"Yeah." He said, "Yeah, we're done. We got him. She
No vote.
can't be objective. You don't get a vote." So then they go to Man's Planet again. We see Matt Damon, and this whole portion I thought was great. It was a very necessary, like character function that he needed to serve, which was playing up that other idea of like the selfishness that can still come about in mankind, even when the fate of the entire species is at stake. So he was rather willing to falsely uh, give the impression that there was a potential for life and for civilization on this planet when there was not, just so that they could come to him and then you have a chance at survival.
Hmm.
So I thought that was great. Again, a lot of him and the whole, Michael Caine when he is on his deathbed, which also, again, like a tear jerking moment. So sad. Dude, Michael
Really?
Caine, such an incredible actor. Yes, dude, him like crying on the verge of tears, like doing his final confession basically on his
He's the
deathbed
villain.
to Jessica Chastain. It was tragic.
How dare he lie?
But then, yeah, he brings up the fact that he had lied about Plan A so that he could ensure humanity's future with Plan B.
Hmm.
And I just think that was a twist or reveal, I guess, I had forgotten about since
Hmm.
first seeing it. So that hit nicely. And then obviously Matt Damon's twist. I remembered that one quite vividly.
Dude, I love Matt Damon in this movie. I forgot how much I love him in this movie. He's so good.
Yeah, he is just phenomenal. But that
He's such a
whole
coward, dude.
yeah, his whole bit about like very calmly explaining why Dr. Brand, Michael Caine did what he did, and
Hmm.
then we see later on again he's like willfully trying to kill other people and mask the failures, like destroying the robot Kip so that he could hide the fact that there is no real potential for life. Like
Hmm.
he's so
And
cowardly, but
falsifying all
part of
the
it
evidence.
is that desire for just self-preservation, like that selfish desire to continue on yourself. And as you said, like, oh, we'll have empathy for the people around us, but it rarely goes beyond our line of sight. And he was like the perfect encapsulation of that. Like he was willing to kill all of that other team only to save himself, which
I
is
love the
despicable
line
but
where he
realistic.
says, I love the line where he says, I never really thought that my planet wouldn't be the one. Like that, the ego on him is insane. The belief that you have a 1 in 12 chance of being the planet that like people will move to and like civilization will restart on, and the belief that you're like, it'll be mine. I'm going to convince all these people to go to all the other planets, but it'll be mine. Mine will be the one. I'm the leader. I'm Dr. Man. It'll be my planet. That's crazy.
Hmm. But I mean, yeah, that's kind of what you need to tell yourself, right? To do this thing that
Sure.
there would be some sort of hope deep down that you're like, well, humanity will survive, yay, but I want to be the planet that we survive on so that I can
Yeah.
continue.
He's
Um,
just so good. He's such a good antagonist. I
and
love when he's hitting his helmet on a Matthew McConaughey's helmet trying to crack it. And Matthew McConaughey is like, Dr. Man, there's a 50%, there's a 50-50 chance that you kill yourself. And he goes, those are the best odds I've had in years.
it was great. It was a very,
Great
very good
line.
one. Um, so yeah, his whole bit was great, and then the docking sequence. Oh
Yeah.
my god! Oh my god! The score
Oh,
once again
yeah.
crazy. That
Oh, yeah.
exact picture of like the piano on fire. That was Hans Zimmer, and just the tension again. Like that was what was so great about seeing all this. All these moments hit. Like remember the scene. I remember the setup. I remember how everything happens, um, and it still has you gripped. Like that's just the mark of a great movie. It can still bring out those exact emotions that's intending for first time viewers, but in someone that knows exactly where it's going, exactly how it resolves, yet you're still edge of your seat. Like that is just incredible. I will also say the explosion, like or when man gets sucked out,
Yeah.
I jumped in my seat, dude. That was
Dude,
great.
yeah.
Dude. The sounds
Oh,
was so
yeah.
intense. And again, I know it's
I
coming.
jump every time. Yeah.
I
Because
know it's
he
coming.
cuts him off abruptly.
Exactly. And that was the thing too, because I'm like, all right, I know he's about to die here.
He goes,
But
there
Matt
comes a
Damon,
moment.
he
Every
sucked
man's
me in.
life, and then
I
just
was like, I
boom,
want
just
to hear him out. I
explodes.
want to hear the rest of this sentence. He's like on his whole monologue. I'm like, let's let Matt Damon cook, and then he gets cut off right in the middle. But the other thing too, because the sounds it comes from the left side, like when he gets sucked out there, like that's where the quick explosion happens,
Yeah,
and then he gets sucked out. I like recoiled from the left side, which I don't know that's ever happened to me in a movie before, where the sound is so crisp, so precise, and just so loud and forceful with that. Not only did I jump, but I like dodged as if I was trying to escape from
yeah.
the explosion that was happening on screen.
Dude, I love
So
a good loud movie. I just
so
fucking
good.
love it. Christopher
So
Nolan
good.
has some of the loudest movies, and they're awesome because of it.
He does. Again,
Dude, Dunkirk.
there
Dunkirk
were
in theaters is also a great experience.
there were some times where people were talking, couldn't hear what they were saying, and that does kind of frustrate me a little bit. Again, Tenet is
I
the
don't
worst
care.
offender of that.
Sure,
Even
yeah,
happened in Oppenheimer a bit, but there's some moments where it's like you could tell it's intentional that you're not really supposed to hear what they're saying. That's fine, but
yeah.
there's some moments where it's like we kind of do need to know what they're saying. So that does bug me a bit, but
No,
however,
dude.
yeah, the
I would
sound,
rather just be blasting and not be able to understand a fucking word. I just want the
nah,
feeling, man.
no, I think we do need to have some substance there. But I do like
Fuck
overall the
substance.
intensity of the sound and imagery that it has there. Because again, in the moments like the docking sequence where the thing's blown up, it's rotating, it's getting sucked into the orbit of the planet, and he needs to go in there and line it up, match the rotation, and dock. So good.
Yeah.
Just so incredible. Like that sequence and then the entering the black hole as well. So good. And can we talk like who came up with was it Nolan? Did he have like a sketch or did he just let the VFX artist go crazy with it? Like that shot of the edge of Gargantua, the black hole, like with the
Hmm.
light, those Saturn-esque rings basically, but
Hmm.
the vertical one that's coming down and it almost looks like a distorted waterfall, but it's the orange light rings that are just like rippling by. It's just incredible. Like
I think it had to be based on some kind of real evidence because when they've got like the crispest picture of the real black hole a couple of years ago, it looks just like that,
well, it does. Well, yeah, that was
which is
because
what's crazy.
they explained. I think it was Kip Thorne or someone else had explained like, oh, this is most likely what it would look like. And so they did that, which is crazy
Yeah.
because again, it looks so beautiful and like very visually pleasing, but it was just an accurate rendition of how a black hole would look like. But I'm just talking about like that close up imagery of when we see the shadow, the silhouette of the Endurance rotating by it, and then we just see again that like rippling effect of the vertical ring coming down right at the edge of the black hole, like the event horizon part. So stunning stuff again all around. And then he goes into the Tesseract, and we get the whole reveal that he was the ghost. I'm your ghost, Murph.
I'm your ghost, Murph. It was dad.
Don't you
It was
get it
dad
yet?
all along.
It's love, Tars. I thought all this time it was like when the no Luke, I'm your father. I thought it was it's love, Murph, but he's just talking to Tars in that scene.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, it's love. He's the one that pushed the books down on the bookshelf. He's the one that sent Morse code to the watch. Beautiful stuff. Okay, one other thing I want to bring up the moment where Murph goes and ignites the crop field, like burns it all
Mhm.
down so she can push her brother to leave that behind so
Yeah.
that his wife and kid doesn't die from all the dust. The I was like, that's a pretty crazy gambit because I guess she tested the wind, knows which way it's going. But I'm like, if that thing gets loose and then gets all the way to the house and burns the house down, well, there goes your chance at deciphering whatever message the ghost had for you. So that was kind of crazy. I was like, maybe decipher it first and then burn down the crops, but
How's
that
she
wouldn't
gonna get
make
into
for
the
as
house?
compelling of a movie. Um, and then I'm sure they could come up with something that wasn't like burning down the crops, or just come back and be like, "Hey, sorry, but can I get some stuff up there?"
Yeah,
Like,
but it looks
cool,
cooler.
let the cool down happen for a couple hours. And then when he's coming back, you see him coming back, and you see Topher Grace pick up the tire iron
Yeah.
as if he's gonna do anything with that. That was really funny.
Dude, I forgot he was in this movie.
I did too. Um, he was also so aggressive. Like when the fire first happened, and they're trying to get the kid and the wife out.
Get in the car. Get in the car now. Get in the
he,
car now.
he didn't give him a chance
Dude,
to start
he's
moving. He
aggressive
just
in the
got
whole movie
screaming.
because there's like sequences where like more important things are going on. So what Topher Grace is saying is not really like the most important thing in the scene, but
Hmm.
like just no, I guess maybe it's bad direction, which is like the line delivery is crazy. When he's like talking to Casey Affleck, he's like, "There's something you need to understand, okay? Your family is going to die." Like I would have punched him in the face too. Are you kidding me? He's talking like an asshole. It's crazy.
Yeah,
He's
that
like
was
talking down to Casey Affleck so bad.
a little bit. I think when he was telling, he was like they need to get out of here. I thought that was fine because he's
No,
just
dude,
trying to
he
speak
was
with
talking to him like
urgency
an
of like
asshole. He's like,
they
"You
are.
need to understand something, okay?"
He did not do that. He did not.
Yes, he did. Yes, he
No.
did. That's why he gets punched in the face, is because he's talking like an asshole.
I don't know if that's quite it, but yeah. So he had a flat tire iron ready to go, and then Murph comes out with a watch as Casey Affleck returns. His entire crop field destroyed. He looks dead in the eyes. And Murph goes, "The ghost was dad. He was
It's
talking to
so
me through the
funny.
watch." I'm like, that dude would have been so, like, I guess he was just completely dead at that point and had no
He's like,
reaction. But I'm like, could you
"You're
imagine
insane."
coming back to that after, again, you kick Murph out, you punch out her friend, and then you come back from your crop field, your livelihood being destroyed, and she's talking all this nonsense about the watch, and that's how dad is communicating, and he's the ghost and everything.
Dude, I feel bad for Casey Affleck in this movie. He really gets the rough end of it, man.
He
His
did.
his dad clearly has a favorite, and it's Murph, and he's forced to be a farmer and can't even go to college. His first child dies. He names
Yeah.
his second child Coop Cooper. His sister wants nothing to do with him, and she's trying to rip his family away from him because she thinks that he's not. She's also talking to him like an asshole. She says, "Are you going to wait for another kid to die?" What a shitty thing to say to a person. That's
Yeah.
crazy.
I mean, it's pretty intense. But again, she was like, "You are. I mean, you're
I get
killing
what
him by
she's
living." I
saying.
mean,
Of course, I'm on her side, sure, but you got to take a step back, and you can't say that shit, man. Come on, that's so cruel.
it sure is. And then I mean, yeah, he kicked her out, but he didn't get too mad and upset about it. So I guess that's why he's just a bit more of a calm person. But again, I was like,
Mhm.
I would not believe if you give me 100 potential guesses at what a reaction to someone would be coming back to that situation. Um, his would not be anywhere in that list, but still a thing you could overlook. Again, the
It
whole
would have been, "You're
video,
insane. What are you talking about? Your
like,
watch is just broken. Are you crazy?
yeah.
Dad is
Um,
dead. Dad went into space 30
Dad's
years
dead.
ago.
I named my kid after him. My whole crop field's dead. Now my kids are gonna
Humanity
die.
is going
You
to
did this.
die,
You still
and
have Topher Grace here
you're
with a
talking about
flat
your stupid
um,
little watch."
like, get a grip. You're crazy.
I'd say, "Get the hell out of here, you insane person. Let me take care of my family."
Exactly.
I
But
feel
anyway,
for his character.
so we get the bookshelf moment. And again, this is how I know that this film is so effective because personally, for 10 years, I've been memeing the whole "come on, Murph, make him stay, Murph." That when he says that line,
"Don't let me
I'm
leave,
amused. I'm like
Marv."
kind of laughing. But then he continues on and starts like sobbing, crying, and is like hitting the bookshelf. Um, and then I'm like on the verge of tears again. So it's able
Matthew
to
McConaughey, man.
overcome the meme effect. Like, like people that haven't watched Breaking Bad and then they see that one image of him being stunned in Ozymandias. You know what
Yeah,
I'm talking about? And
great.
then he
Yeah.
falls down the ground. It's like if you only know that from memes for the past 8 years, like that moment's just not going to hit as well, um, because you recognize the meme rather than feeling the emotions you're supposed to be. So I think it's a credit to this film that, again, my own personal meme that I've made for it of him relentlessly saying Murph was able to overcome that and still make me feel all that pain and hurt and
You know, it didn't
regret.
quite overcome the meme effect in this movie.
What's that?
The line where he says, "What are you doing?" and Matthew McConaughey goes, "Docking." Dude, that shit
Stop.
still gets me. It's so
Yeah.
funny. It's so docking because it's like the most intense moment in the movie, and the music is swelling, and so to use that in a meme is so funny. It's really good.
Yeah.
Docking. Bum 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 bum. It's so good.
But all right. Any other comments you have there about the Tesseract, the bookshelves. Make them stay, Murph. Make
I
them
think
stay.
I think to some extent the movie can get away with the fact that we don't know what's inside of a black hole. You could say anything, and I know they're trying to be like clever about uh, kind of how love is the connecting thing. I just wish it was more subtle about it. I don't think it needs to be said to you. I think the audience can come to the conclusion that love is the answer,
Don't you
and
get it,
that
Tars? Don't you get it, audience? Dylan,
yeah,
don't you get it? It's
yeah.
love, Dylan.
See, I don't need those moments. I just wish it just like let Matthew McConaughey do his thing in those scenes and just get the point across of communicating to Murph, and then been like, oh, that was the thing that caused this whole story to move along was his attachment to Murph and like the recognition that the feelings that he feels will exist regardless of time or space, and that it will be the thing that will call him back to those moments and that will call her back to that room to be able to receive the messages he's going to send. There will be like no miscommunication because of the strong feelings of love they have for each other. Like that's not a bad point to end on. It's just so in your face, and
Yeah,
it's
they
a
already kind
little
of because they had that moment of
with Anne Hathaway. They get the point across, kind of.
they do because she says that whole thing of like, oh well, what if it's love that stretches across time, which I thought was again she kind of got. I mean, her or the writing, either way, some people have levied criticism at that moment. And maybe it's a little overwritten, but I think just that
I think it's
observation of
fine.
like, what is the social utility of us loving people that are dead, like people that are gone, like there isn't really any, and yet we still feel so powerfully for them.
Yeah, I
And
fuck
so
with it.
her saying like, yeah, I have this connection to Edmund. Obviously, I want his planet to be the one that is viable because I want to see him there, even though I think he's dead, even though it's been many years. Like, we don't know what's happened, but something is still calling me there. Like, I think that definitely got that message across enough. But then they also had in that same Tesseract scene where he's like, oh, give me the coordinates for the black hole data stuff. Like, give that to me in Morse code so I can give it to her through the watch. And Tars is like, how do you know she's going to get that? How do you know she's going to realize the significance of the watch? And he's like, because I gave it to her because it was
I
a
think that's
gift
the
from him.
only line you need of that speech is him
Exactly.
saying because I gave it to her. I think the rest of it you could cut out.
Yeah, I would agree there. But hey, it's McConaughey talking, going through
Yeah.
again. It gave us the "It's Love"
I just
Murph.
feel like it's talking down to the audience a little bit in the sense that like you're Christopher Nolan, you're known for like your very complex plots. You're Jonathan Nolan co-writing it. You're known for your very complex plots and like not talking down to the audience in any way. Like Inception is very much there's a lot of exposition going on, but they expect you to understand it and keep moving along with the plot as you're going. And I think in this one they really hammer home the point of what they're trying to say to a point where I feel like they think this idea of love being this connector across time and space is like a complicated idea, and I just don't think it is. And I think the audience can get the point across just from the fact that he is communicating via the watch that he gave. Like we have that emotional connection with Matthew McConaughey and with Jessica Chastain to this watch that he gave her as a gift. So we understand the significance of that already. I just feel like giving a speech like that is so long and so on the nose, where yet you are absolutely right, where you're saying it's love audience. Like instead, he's talking to Tars, but he's really talking to the audience, and he's just
Yeah,
explaining exactly how it works. And I think it's also too much for him to talk about how the people that set it all up, the them are just humanity way in the future, setting this up for them. I think that's also like the whole idea of them just feels also too much like the idea that they had the idea that some other force, some other being is creating these things for them to use to move on. I just feel like that is also kind of on the nose, and it could just be space, unknown space. We don't know what it is. Something created this thing where time doesn't exist and he's seeing his daughter's bedroom. I don't have as much qualms about that part, but the whole love speech just seems like a lot.
yeah. My qualms with it just originate from the qualms I have with any time loop thing, which is again, if they're advanced enough to be fifth dimensional and stuff like that, they had to get there at some point, and they would have been saved from Earth. But in this timeline, we're seeing that it's Cooper and his connection with Murph and sending back those coordinates. of whatever the data is in the black hole, that is how they're able to get out, get off of Earth, and continue as a species. So it's like how they do it the first time. Because if this is key, like Cooper being in a black hole and sending things back through time to a watch for Earth to decipher
What
30
started the
years
loop?
later, like that means we needed something to cause it. Uh, but it's dependent on something that can't happen without this time loop. So that's
Dude,
just my issue with it.
you
But
should watch Dark on Netflix, bro.
so I keep hearing,
That's a good time loop story.
I'm fascinated to hear it. Carlos Rosabal, who has been on the show a couple times
Yeah,
and is making a movie right now as we speak, which I will
nice.
be on in a couple of days as well to help him out. He loves Dark. He raves about that. So
I need to finish it. I've only seen the first two seasons. I didn't watch the last one.
gotcha. But yeah, I hear it does time related stuff really well. Again, I can forgive that because everything else is so awesome in the film. And again, the basic like message of love and stuff like this, like it's already saying to you like, well, time and gravity and all this stuff is already so like crazy to wrap your head around. Why is it that much more of a leap to be like, yeah, love? It can also penetrate all these different dimensions and raise above it, and you can actually like go back in time. Like that was part of what Anne Hathaway said before. Of like nothing can make us go back in time. But maybe it's love. Maybe it's that next dimension that we don't understand here. We'll never really be able to understand, but we can feel it. We just
Mm.
know that it exists, it's there, and that's all you need. So I can forgive it and just go along with the movie because, again, those emotional beats still hit. So I'm quite satisfied with it. The ending, of course, when he's picked back up next to Saturn and then they have Murph being sent over to him, and we
Tears, bro.
even the music there of like him walking into the hospital room, and you see all of Murph's family, but of course to us and to Cooper, it's just a bunch of strangers, and then there's Murph, old Murph,
Old Murph.
Ellen Burstyn on the hospital bed, so moving,
God.
so affecting. Oh my gosh,
Tears, bro.
yeah, like they were just beautiful. Like the little moment there again, the you told
When
him I
she
was a
says you were
farmer.
my ghost and he says I know. Oh God.
Yeah, that was great. And her
Because the
saying, like,
idea
no one
that
believes
she's
me.
saying this, yeah, no one believes her. Of course, no one will believe her, but he knows. And like the acknowledgement they have with each other is so fantastic.
Hmm. So
Beautiful.
beautiful. Again, the love that saved humanity. So beautiful. And then she's encouraging him to head off to meet Dr. Brand because no one should have to watch their own daughter die. So he's given the go ahead to leave that station and go meet up with Dr. Brand and continue, being that pioneer, that explorer, being one of the first humans to
I
set
love that
foot on
ending.
that
Yeah,
planet.
I
Hmm.
love the ending that he's just off to find her because that's what we are. We're explorers. When did we
Exactly.
lose that?
We used to look up at the stars
Stars.
and wonder about our place in the stars. Now we look at the dirt and we dirt. How's it go? If we wonder
I don't know. That's a really good rendition.
and we look at the dirt and
and
we're
we and
we're
we
just dirt.
dirt. We're
No,
mud.
it's we used to look up and wonder about our place in the stars. Now we look down and worry about our place in the dirt.
It's a good one. It's a good
Right
line.
on. Very good. Um, so yeah, good stuff there. It goes of all around. Again, the theatrical experience unmatched. The movie itself, so much in it to love, not just on the spectacle front, but on the emotional front. Things to think about, many things to feel. Performances were great throughout. Again, legendary score from Hans Zimmer.
Oh my fucking god, dude! His best score, one of the best cinema scores of all time, hands down.
Incredible
Dude,
imagery,
could you
incredible
imagine
visual effects.
seeing Interstellar live in concert? Like watching the whole movie
Man,
with a live orchestra.
yeah, he's been doing a bunch of tours
Oh
recently
my
with stuff like
god,
that.
dude!
So you should be on the lookout for when that comes around. That would be great. So, any other final thoughts from you, Dylan?
It is just a movie that demands to be seen in a theater, 100% on the biggest screen you can with the best sound equipment you can find. It demands to be seen that way because it
Indeed.
is just not the same.
We demand that you go see it on the big screen.
Yes,
It's, I think, maybe still, I think it got a little bit of an extension, so it may still be in theaters. If not, and you missed
I
it,
might go see it again. If it is getting an extension, I may go again next week.
I know I might as well. That would be awesome. And then
Damn. So
You'd have
good.
to go to Point Orlando though, and let me
Yes,
know
I
if you go
would.
because that would be awesome. Um, and if you miss it, then sorry, you are not watching Interstellar until the 15th anniversary when it comes back in IMAX because you can't do it. You
You
gotta have that
cannot
theatrical
watch it
experience.
otherwise, man. You're gonna have to wait 5 fucking years, loser.
Exactly. Well, all right. How many Murphs out of 5 are you giving it?
I said it earlier. It's a 5 out of 5 experience, but it's still a 4 out of 5 movie.
Wow, that's crazy. Come on, Murph.
I'm sorry, dude. There's just I have
Come
hangups
on.
about it. It's the story is just not where I need it to be. Quite so, but you know what? I'll give it 4.5. I'll give you 4.5.
There we go.
But as an
Good
experience,
stuff.
it is the greatest theatrical experience you could possibly experience. It
Indeed.
is fantastic.
I am giving it 5 Murphs out of 5.
Come on,
It's
Murph.
just fantastic. Come
Come
on,
on,
Murph.
Murph. Don't make me leave like
Don't
that,
really
Murph.
like this,
Come
Murph. Come
on.
on, Murph.
Don't make me
No,
leave,
no.
Murph.
When he's slamming on the bookshelf, it's just, no, no, no.
No,
Make them
no,
stay.
no, 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 no.
Dude, that and the John Bernthal, no, no, no. The most iconic
No, no,
villain.
no, no. Wait, 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 wait. Wait, 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 wait.
Crazy, crazy. But all right, there we go. So a 5 from me and a 4.5. We got him up to 4.5.
Yep,
Again, a 5 out of 5 theatrical experience. So
absolutely.
there you go. A full on
There you
modern
go.
classic, modern epic. Christopher Nolan's Interstellar. Great movie.
Great movie. That's all the time we have. If you'd like to give your thoughts on the show, you can email us at theboxofficeshowpod@gmail.com.
Our main title theme for the show is Sundown by Joseph McDade.
If you like the show, please give us 5 stars on whatever podcast app you're listening to, and be sure to tune in next week. Have a great rest of your day.